Alright, this is going to be trying to make it back part 2. So, in this one, I'm going to be going over my trade setups. I'll be going over the developments that have happened since my last video, and we're going to try and take some trades here. So, I am still in the long from yesterday. I did move my stop loss to in profit. I TP'd up around these highs. I put my stop loss a little bit above my entry, pretty much below this 2-hour order block, because I think if we lose this order block, we're probably coming for my stop anyway. Might as well lock in a little bit more profits, and I'm not too concerned with keeping this guy open. It would be nice if we could, it'd be nice if we can reverse here, and I can leave this trade open and maybe even take another trade over here. But if we continue retracing down past this 2-hour order block, then I'll just look for another long entry. So that's where we're at with my trades. Now we have come up to not only take out the liquidity from the highs of the range, but we have also broken this last lower high on the 4-hour. And this is a very significant development in my opinion. Now, there is a bit of controversy with this, you could say, because this is a very close break. I would have liked it if the 4-hour closed a bit higher, but I would say that's good enough to be considered a genuine break. It's not like the candle closed, $2 or $5 above that line. We closed a decent bit above that high, so I would consider it a break. Looking at the 4-hour and going down, you can definitely see that this was a break on the 2-hour, on the 3-hour. So, yep, I would consider this a break in market structure. I would consider this a higher high now, and I would be expecting a higher low on this retracement. I would expect this market structure to continue. Now, there's no guarantees of any market structure rules working, but like I said, this is a significant level. It's primary 4-hour structure. It is also, this is previous support inside the old range. It is current resistance, and we did break it, but we have fallen back down out of it. But I would really like to see us put in a higher low and then, continue up into this range and maybe even find support inside of it before moving higher. And, at this point, it would really surprise me if price just kind of died off here and, just completely disregarded that break and then broke to the downside. That seems to me to be the least probable scenario right now, since we have now gotten this break. So I'd say there's a lot of things pointing towards the bullish side. So now let's go over some of my plans. So, like I said, based on this 4-hour break, we could technically retrace all the way back down towards this low and still put in a higher low and still continue structure. That is possible, but I would prefer if we can maintain internal structure as we get a retracement. So, from this low following that 30 or 15-minute structure, we had a break here. And I'm on the 30, but on the 15, we had a very slight break here. Higher high, higher low, higher high. So right now, internal structure, the market structure point to watch is right here at the low end of this box I have marked out. And this is like a little mini range that we formed in here, not the best structure. It wasn't a clear move to the upside, clear move to the downside, but if we're going with internal structure, then I would probably count it anyway. And this area also happens to be a 2-hour order block. The fact that we have gotten a retracement into this area isn't too concerning with me because it's an order block. We could just be coming down here to put in a higher low, and maybe we can still continue this internal structure along with the higher term structure now. So this is, my first area of interest for, entering longs again. Either entering a new long or adding to this long. I would probably enter a new one, but this is my first area of interest. It is also below the 0.5 of this pull, so it's in a spot that makes sense based on primary structure, and it's also right around the point of control of the previous range, this smaller range that we were trading in for a while. So there is some confluence around this area. We can update this fixed range and make sure that it's still the same, and it is. So basically, inside this area, if I'm going to be interested in a trade, I would want to see some kind of low time frame market structure shift. So in that case, I'd like for us to put in another lower low here, because that would make structure a lot better. If we don't put in a lower low, then the structure looks like this, and we'd have to wait for this guy to break. But did we just put in another lower low, or did we double bottom there? Alright, no, not yet. But I would like us to put in a lower low, and if we do that, and then we break structure, then this is definitely something I would be interested in, because it makes sense based on internal structure, based on primary structure, and I can take a scalp entry with this with a very tight invalidation for my idea. So all in all, this is the trade setup I would look for in this area. And I will actually go ahead and set an alert at this low, because I want to know if that breaks. Now, if we lose this 2-hour order block, there is another area of interest below. This is a level I marked out in my last video, I think. It's a 30-minute order block. We also had some kind of point of control in here. Actually, let me go back to the smaller time frames. I think this was the point of control of a local move to the upside, which I'm guessing it's from here to here. Yep. So this is an area I could still be interested in, and reason being, there is now a larger order block in this area. Even though it's not a great one, this 2-hour order block is way more wick than body, so it's not ideal, but it still could work. And with that 30-minute order block in the middle of this, there is sort of a refined area that I would like to pay attention to. So this idea would break local structure, but it doesn't really matter. We are more interested in the primary structure anyway, so if we get a move down to here, pretty much be looking for the same thing I'm looking for up here. I'd look for a local market structure shift after we get a move into this area. Maybe I could pay attention to the 786 or this 30 and look for maybe more of a riskier entry, like try and enter in on a reaction here, try and lock in the trade quick, put my stop loss entry. There's a possibility I'll take a trade like that, but for the most part, I'd say I'd probably be looking for a market structure shift as we work our way down here. Alright, so it's been a few hours. To sum up what has happened since the last update, my long from over here is now stopped out, and I've entered a new long right here. So this trade got stopped out for about a 1% gain, and I have put down in a little notepad the progress so far. So I'm aiming to make about 5% this week. That's about what I lost last week. It was a little less than 5%, I think, but we'll round up. We'll say my target for this week is 5%. And so far I have had 2 winning trades here, along with 3 trades that basically canceled themselves out. I took 2 losses and then 1 win that pretty much canceled out those losses. So not even going to bother putting them in here. But so far for this series, I guess, we are up 2.6%, so halfway there. And I am in a winning trade at the moment as well. I just entered this long. I've already TP'd and put my stop loss into profit. It's a little bit below my entry still, but if I go to the 1 minute, my stop loss is going to be right about here, right below this wick. So I've got 6.7% locked in right now, and if my stop loss gets hit, I'll still be in profit 0.3%. So guaranteed to be at least a small win. And how I got into this trade, we got to move down into that 30-minute order block I was watching, the one inside the larger order block. When we originally got to move into here, we got a nice reaction away, and we came back down to SFP that original wick, basically take out the liquidity from the people that longed once they saw the reaction. So people that longed up here and put their stop losses right here, we came back for that. We also took out the stop losses that were just placed below the order block, because a lot of people like putting their stop losses right below order blocks. I mean, I do that as well sometimes, but we know that price likes to wick those guys out. So we came down, SFP'd the original low, took out that liquidity and we reclaimed it without closing below the low. So I just traded this as an SFP. Yeah, I entered on this candle to the upside. I didn't get the best entry because I didn't have the exchange pulled up, so I was a little late to it, but I took profits aggressively up at this high and locked in a small win. So if we come up to break structure here now, then, well, hey, maybe we start an uptrend here. Maybe this is a sign that this is the higher low of the larger trend, and maybe now I'm in a good position from the low. And if not, then we can look for another trade if this one gets stopped out. So that is pretty much where we're at right now. I did, enter this on very small time frame structure, and really I wouldn't be convinced of this being the higher low in this larger trend until we break probably this 15-minute structure. Because we got one, violent move to the downside here. We didn't form any structure on this way down, so unfortunately we got to wait for this guy up here to break. But there could be another trade setup in that. If we come up to break structure, then maybe we can look for a retest somewhere. We can look at the significant levels that we formed on this move to the upside, and maybe enter another long trade on this retest, and maybe then be in two longs. So that's pretty much my plans right now, and we will check back in a little bit. All right, so quick update on this long that I took. I closed it out. I basically closed it out once we broke 1 minute structure bearish. Yeah, I decided that, this was more of a scalp entry. I basically traded an SFP. This was more of a risky entry to begin with. And, another thing that factored into it was the fact that I did not secure a lot of profits from my last long, which I probably should have, looking back. Even though I thought that, this trade that I took from right here, it could have been a swing trade, could have turned into a swing trade. I could have held this trade for, a massive rotation if we got it. I did have the bullish break of structure in my favor. However, based off of that primary structure, there was a decent likelihood that I would get stopped out of this trade before the higher low was put in. So, just based off of where my trade was and what the possibilities were if this structure were to continue, which one of the possibilities was that trade getting stopped out before the higher low was put in, really there wasn't much guarding my trade here. It was pretty likely that it was going to get stopped out. Now, at the time, I was looking at this price action in this area, in the first clip I did of this video, and I was hoping that we would get a bullish break here. I was hoping that we'd get a bullish break here and that this would end up being the low. So then I could take a long trade here and still be in this trade. But, that didn't happen. And, even then at that point, I couldn't really lock in more than 1%. I could have locked in maybe 1.3% if I closed up my trade here. But given the circumstances, I really should have taken more profits out when I was up here. Like I said, when I was editing this video in that little text that I put on the screen, I could have locked in upwards of 4% with this trade if I, just closed it out here. Obviously, I wouldn't close out the whole entire trade there, but I could have locked in definitely more than the 1% that I did. So, that being said, I wanted to lock in more profits here. And rather than just hope that, after this 1 minute bearish transition that we just kind of find support before hitting my stop loss, I decided that I'd rather just take the profits that I have. And because of that, I locked in like 1.8%, almost 2% with that trade. So I can now add, we'll say 1.7% to be conservative here. And yeah, I think that was the best move. And there's still going to be plenty of opportunity for me to enter a long trade. We still haven't broken 15-minute structure yet, so if that happens, then I can look for a retest trade, or I can just enter along here and validation here. There's always going to be an opportunity for me to enter a long trade. There's not always going to be an opportunity for me to secure profits. So I decided to do that once we broke 1 minute structure. And now, I'm just this much closer to my ultimate goal. All right, so I re-entered along here. basically since I closed out my trade on the 1-minute bearish transition, I decided to re-enter on the 1-minute bullish transition. And since I locked in 1.7% with this trade, I was comfortable taking a 0.7 to 0.8% risk with this one, so not quite a full 1%er. And I wasn't even really going to let this hit my stop loss. If we started falling down below this area of support, I was at the charts and I was ready to just close out the trade if it looked like we weren't going to continue with this market structure. So, I entered on this 1-minute bullish transition, and so far I have taken profits and I have moved my stop loss to a break even. So basically took a very risky scalp entry, and because of that, I decided to lock it in as soon as I could. I right now have about 0.2%, 0.25% locked in. And like I said, if this trade gets stopped out, it will be a break even, pretty much exactly. So, just wanted to re-enter along. Like I said, I'm not too concerned with not being in a trade right now because I think there will be more opportunities to enter along if, the developments happen that would make me want to get into a long, such as this 15-minute market structure breaking. Thus, at least in my opinion, confirming this as being a higher low in the larger uptrend. So if that happens, then there will be opportunity to re-enter a trade, whether it's on the retracement, whether it's on the next market structure break. I'll find a way to get long, but wanted to take a little scalp just because I'm here and I'm able to monitor my trades. So I wouldn't have taken too much of a loss if this trade started going against me anyway. And now I am in a trade, even though it's a very small one. I'm in some kind of long position.